Zoomer Times show again, and it's been so wonderful. Of course, I'm dressed from here up, but down there I have shorts on and bare feet, but it's okay. I'm having a very, very positive time. I'm thinking about good things and what's going to happen in the future. And I want to introduce you to my favorite realtor, and that's Anthony Kulp, and he is absolutely the man of the hour. Welcome, Anthony.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure, and we love your articles. Most realtors can't write the kind of articles you write. This last one, though, in July, was very important. So I'm just going to tell everybody. Well, first of all, let me just show everybody. Here it is. I always say, here's our magazine. You know, Boomer Times. There we are. Make sure you get it. Okay, so in Boomer Times, Anthony always writes an article, and this time it's low rates keep housing sales stable. Now that's pretty important, isn't it, Anthony, in your business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got it. You have to keep housing going because people buy houses, they get carpet, they buy appliances, you know, and it goes on and on. It's, you know, a big part of the economy.
Plus, I know people have been nervous about having their home shown or about listing it because they figured people aren't interested. But as you said, they have got to go on with their life. They're just going to be careful, right?
Exactly. Have your home ready. If you're showing your home, have all the lights on, closets open, you know, just create an atmosphere where people don't have to touch anything. And then after they leave, just wipe down doorknobs and any banisters or handrails, you know, stuff like that.
And so you, before in some of your other interviews and in your articles, we called it staging. How important is staging? And do you help tell people how to do this?
Yes. You know, some people have downsized into a smaller place and they may be downsizing again or, you know, just moving to another home or unit. And, you know, you have to declutter. You have to take down the personal photos. You have to, you know, thin out the closets. You know, if you have too much furniture, thin the furniture out to make the rooms look larger. Make sure that all the windows are washed. Make sure that all the lights are working and all the lights are on. So, you know, you can do that. And then there's professional staging if your house is vacant. And typically on my listings, I've only used staging twice. And the reason was it was a weird floor plan and people couldn't imagine where they were going to place their furniture. So we had to bring some furniture in the living room and dining room and place it so people can get an idea of, you know, how they would live there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do have a broker's license. I'm not using my broker's license now, but I remember when I was showing people things, and you could tell when they said, well, honey, or couch will be here or the bed over there, you know they're buying it because they're already placing it, right?
Right. There's a whole psychology to real estate. If people are in a unit or a home or a condo and they're touching their head or somewhere above their upper body or
really
have their arms crossed, they're not comfortable in the space. They don't get it. They're not picturing living there. If a place is not clean, people keep their arms very close to themselves. They don't want to touch anything. But if somebody likes a space and they're picturing themselves living there, they'll touch their stomach. They'll put their hands on their hips, leave an open body. They'll look around. So they'll spend more time there. They'll sit down. If you can get somebody to sit down showing a property, I mean, that's
it. Well, I remember that when I was sitting on houses years ago, before we had all this sophisticated television showing everybody the house inside in the videos, we used to take and put on the stove spices and all sorts of good smelling things, and that made it feel like home, right? Do you still do things like that?
Well, there's a saying, if you can smell it, you can't sell it. And it goes both ways.
Really? Oh, but that's a different smell.
Right, because so if it's a bad smell, you know, people can't picture living in a house that has a smell. But if it's, you know, too many room deodorizers and, you know, to a lot of people, it's very sensitive. I'm sensitive to it. But then people will think, well, what are they trying to mask? Is there mold? Is there, you know, and it's empowering. I had a client, she used to put on these little oil things and heating them up. And I had to ask her, Donna, your house is beautiful. Just, it's fine the way it is. You don't need to do all this.
I was thinking more in terms of apple pie smell.
Cookies. They always
Yeah,
say,
cookies, right. Oh, that's it.
yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't thought about what you said. It's true. Of course, years ago, we weren't having the mold problems. I'm talking about when I was in real estate, and that was like in 79 and 80, different time.
Right.
But let's just keep doing this. So now, talk about the finance. So when does that come up? Before you sit with someone and take them out, so you know what's going to happen? How does that work?
Well, before you take somebody out, you want to ask them if they've contacted a lender. I don't want to waste my time taking people out and then, their credit rating is too low, or, their debt ratio is too high. So, but if somebody says, no, I haven't yet, I'll still take them out and show them property. But while I'm showing them property, I'm asking questions, and I also recommend a loan officer. One of a few people who come down to look at property, they go with these online mortgage companies, which are very difficult to deal with. They don't know the laws of different states and what condo laws are and rules, and they, they're telling the buyer one thing and it's not correct, and the buyer keeps saying, well, the loan officer said this and the loan officer said that. I say, well, but that's not going to work in this case. And in South Florida, there's not a lot of FHA approved properties, which are properties where you can put less than 20% down. And
why is that?
Where they have it, I think it's discriminatory, to be honest with you. Like some associations, they have their credit, you have to have a minimum credit of 720. Well, a lot of people don't have established credit like that. A lot of people don't have, younger people don't have 20% to put down. And it's a big problem because it keeps young people out of starter homes. It keeps people that are just trying to get ahead, get out of a rental and into a condo. And the other thing, we're baby boomers. So we always think house. If you want to get in a place, you want to get in a house. But the reality is nowadays, a starter home is a condominium. And young people that are buying are used to living in condominiums now. Because really, before the 70s, you really didn't see that many condominiums. And if you did, you didn't understand what they were. And lenders used to make you put 20% down. And that would, and that reflected in a lot of the condo docs. But, they have to change that rule, especially for veterans. If you're active military and you want to have your own home to come back to, you should be able to buy a condominium, which the property's being looked over and monitored while you're away, and you come back to your own place, your own couch, your own TV. So it's really not fair. They should at least allow veterans to be able to put the minimum amount down and purchase.
Right. My guess is Anthony Michael Kulp. Is that right?
Right now,
Do you want me to? What?
Now I'm big time. I'm a PA. So it's Anthony Michael Kulp, PA.
Okay, Anthony Michael Kulp, PA. Okay, and to get in touch with him, you're going to call 954-815-9048. And you can get in touch with him. His cell phone's on all the time. Don't go looking at houses by yourself, because this is the problem. If you do that and you don't have a realtor, and then you want to go back to that house with Anthony, it doesn't work so well. So don't go looking at these houses that have these signs up that say, what it is, it's the person who lives there and they want you to come in. It's not a good idea. You're not really going to wind up paying that commission anyway. It always comes from the seller. So I think that you need to have a professional. This is one of your biggest buys in your life. Do it with the professional, right, Anthony?
Oh, especially if you're buying a renovated home. You want to make sure you get all those inspections. Roof inspections, just to inspect the HVAC and the plumbing and, electrical, all the big stuff. Minor stuff, if you're buying a home that's 20 years old, you can't expect everything to be perfect. If it's a new home, then yes, everything should be perfect and the builder should make you 100% satisfied. But if you're buying a home and the air conditioner is 20 years old, even though it's working correctly, you know that it probably doesn't have that much of a lifespan left on it. So you should get a credit. And if the seller didn't disclose that, you should get a credit for that, because you're expecting to buy a home that has an air conditioner that's within a reasonable part of its lifespan. Like if it has a 10-year lifespan, then it should be about 5 years old. And anything else that the seller didn't disclose that you find on the home inspection that's not cosmetic, you can negotiate that. But a lot of people walking in who aren't familiar with homes and everything's new and shiny. We even check permits to see if they did the work with permits. In South Florida, permits are expensive and you have to go through inspections and your taxes will go up. So a lot of people will do things without permits. And, I've had sales where the inspector came in and he really picked the place apart and said, the wiring's not right, it's a few things that aren't to code. And, you should be able to get out of a contract if that inspection comes back bad. If you're buying it yourself, you may think, oh, I'm getting a great deal. I don't know about home inspections, and really get yourself in trouble. I have a friend who just bought a place. He bought a foreclosure, and foreclosures, you don't get inspections or anything like that. This place has been a nightmare. He's been through termite repair, all new electrical, a whole septic system, which that alone cost him $15,000. And then all the things he's going to repair that he knew that he was going to do when he purchased it. But all that had to be put aside. And so it's, the deal that he thought he was getting, he realized isn't such a great deal now.
I guess when someone goes into foreclosure, they've left a lot of things undone because they didn't have the money to pay the mortgage.
And many houses that have gone in foreclosure or sheriff's sale have been sitting there empty for a long time. So.
Well, I have another question. When you take people out, do you have choices of finding homes that have been lived in, new homes, and then new communities that, they're just under construction? Tell me how you figure out what's right for that person.
Well, you have to ask a lot of questions. Mainly I deal with senior citizens. I'm a senior real estate specialist. So what are you going to do when you live here? Are you working? Do you go to the beach? Do you walk? Do you swim? And that determines, if you like to go to the beach, you're going to be closer to the beach. If you like to entertain, then you'll be a little further from the beach in a larger home for, whatever works for their budget. And then as you go out and you look at stuff and they comment on this or that, room sizes, the size of the house, the yard, whether it has a pool or not, or the community has a pool, you start to put things together and narrow it down. New construction, there's not a lot of new construction going on. Most new construction, they have their own sales office, and they want buyers to just wander in and sell it that way. Although I just made an appointment to show some new houses that are being built on an infill lot in Oakland Park. So
yeah, it does.
They advertise houses starting at $350, and then when you go on the site, they start at $450.
Oh, that's not a good thing. I guess they have one house at that price, right? And then everything else is others.
Right.
Well, I also want to talk about pools. A lot of these big communities have a central pool, and yet people seem to want their own pool, and yet they don't understand the extra expense that their own pool costs. And I'm sure you know it, and you share that with them and ask them about that.
Absolutely. In a single family home, if you're not in a homeowners association, I'll just use what I had for my house before I moved into a condominium. I had the lawn guy, I had a sprinkler guy, I had a bug guy, I had a landscaper, I had a tree and a pool guy. That alone, that doesn't even count for, in a condominium now where I am, that's all taken care of. We have the community pool. I do miss my pool, but I have a community pool, which is 3 times the size. And my association fee covers water, sewer, trash, basic cable, exterior insurance, exterior maintenance. So, just me paying the landscaper and all of these other people was about half of what I pay in condo fee. My condo fee also covers reserves. They're putting away reserves, the paint, the roofs, the roads. So a lot of people will hear a high condo fee, especially if they're not from the area. They don't understand that insurance, property insurance here is very high. And a lot of that money goes to insurance, but then there's money being put away for repairs. A lot of people are fooled by low condo fees. They think, oh, the condo fee for this building is, $300 and the other one's $450. But the one for $300, as soon as something needs to be fixed, they have a $5,000 or $6,000 assessment. So,
Right, good point, Anthony. I want everyone to know my guest here, great interview with him always, is Anthony Kulp, and I'm not using Michael in the middle. I'm just, Anthony Kulp's okay, isn't it? For us to talk to you? All right, they'll remember that easily, and they all know you that way. Phone number is 954-815-9048. You'll want to make sure you call him, even if you have questions. If you want to sell your house, don't do it on your own. You have no idea what you're going to be up against. We haven't talked about that. We keep talking about buyers, but do you have a lot of listings?
I carry about average of 10 listings at a time.
Oh, that's a lot of work for you to keep them up.
Yeah, I work every day. I'm always most of my listings are close to my house. Not all, but I would say at least 2/3 are always very close to my house. So I'm always right, and my office is right near my house. So I'm always right in the area. For me to show something, I can, 10 minutes, I can be there and have the lights on, doors. I'll tell you about for sale by owner. I think the last statistic that I saw about for sale by owners, they're only 50% successful. And also, when you sell your property, you're not a licensed real estate agent. You don't know all the forms and disclosures and everything else. Not to mention if you weren't really being truthful about everything. So your exposure to a lawsuit, very high. And, we've heard them. And I've had buyers that I've taken around and they call and say, I'm sorry, but we found this place. We're buying it on our own. And I say, well, make sure you do this, this, and this. And of course they don't. And 3 months later, I get the call. Do you know an electrician? Do you know a plumber? Do you know, because now all these problems are starting to pop up after they've been there. So.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I do have a friend who owns a home, and it is in a community, but she's still, they do everything on the outside, but she has a little pool, responsibility for that. Certain lights go out, and they don't take care of some of those things. And there comes a time when your age just isn't of the right type now, the right situation for you to be in a place that you have to do all these things, because you have to call someone, you have to make the arrangements, you're having someone come in your home. It's a lot of stuff, and you don't know if they're charging you the right thing. It is much better, I think, for an older adult, if they can, to live in a condominium where everything is done for them, don't you?
Well, I live in a condominium, so everything outside of my house is taken care of. Plus, they're paying water, sewer, trash, basic cable. So all I pay is electric. I pay my condo fee. I pay anything over basic cable, which I have the package, phone, internet, all that. And I pay interior insurance. So when you add all that up, you're actually doing better in a condo than you are in a single family home. Now, everybody thinks of condos as little tiny places. And where I live in Palm Air, where I do a great deal of business, a 2-bedroom condo starts at over 1,200 square feet with a big balcony and overlooks the golf course. And, we have community pools, and we have a park that has a workout center and 6 tennis courts. And, everything is right there. We even have a Publix, which is right inside our community. So
oh, that's nice.
Walking and biking trails all over. It's a great place. I showed places in Leisureville the other day, and it's very similar. It's a little older and different kinds, but they have single family homes that the association takes care of.
Yeah, Leisureville, they have a lot of them. They have one in Deerfield, one in Boynton. That was just like, yeah. So, but I really think you have to emphasize the fact that an older adult really doesn't want to go, most of them, if they don't have to, don't want to go to a senior, an assisted living, or even an independent living. They want to stay home. Right. So there are many things they can do to make their home easy. easier to live with, the grab bars. And do you have like a list of all that you share with some elders?
Well, I've been in housing since I was 14 years old. I used to do housing for people with multiple sclerosis. So we would go in, we would open up all the doorways, we would put in curbless showers, we would put in grab rails everywhere, we would put in sinks that they could roll a wheelchair under. So if somebody is looking at a place and they're going to renovate and they're, figuring, okay, in 10 years I might be in a wheelchair, or, one, if they're going to have a home health care aide, to make sure there's room for a home health care aide. Whether it's a den or another bedroom or something like that. Can the place be converted into somewhere that's wheelchair accessible? That's important. You're going to move into a condo and you can't move the shower drain, or you can't make a shower larger or make doors wider, then it's probably not a good idea to buy that property, and to look for something that does have wider doorways and easier to get in. I just listed a place where the woman was 92 years old and she went into an assisted living facility. And so we're putting her place back to pre-wheelchair. Now we don't have to adjust the shower because a lot of architects now are taking into consideration ADA doorways and showers and stuff like that, and they're implementing it in all of their properties when the builder builds it. So, showers with lower curbs or where they can roll right in. And, they, in this administration, wait, let me hold my tongue. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
in
understand.
administration, they're trying to relax that people don't have to do it. Well, this is a horrible time to do it because builders and architects and developers, they're making things that you don't even know it's handicap accessible.
Yeah.
They're working it into the interior design. So now's the worst time to lessen those regulations. Even with handicap.
Anthony, you're talking to a gerontologist. I mean, I love this. In fact, I wanted to ask you a question. So if I own a condominium, can't I do what I want inside my apartment?
You can, but also you have to remember the unit I was just talking about was the first floor. They had to install handicap ramp. Now theirs was very simple. It was just an aluminum one. You put it up, you bolt it down, and it was easy in and out. But other places, you may have a doorway on a catwalk and there's a 2-inch threshold to get over. Well, a 2-inch threshold would really take a 2-foot ramp to put in to go over to meet ADA, because it's 1 inch per foot. So if you have to go up 12 inches, you have to go out 12 feet. And so you have to make sure where you're buying can accommodate that. Now, if you put that in a common area, say they did say, okay, you can put the ramp in, there's room for it. When you move, you're responsible to take it out. Inside the condominium, you can do whatever you want. In most cases.
You're talking about as though someone who's elder is different than someone who's 50 or 60. It's more convenient for them. I mean, just like these new sit tubs, you open the door and you sit in. Wouldn't you like to sit there and relax and not have to worry about getting into the tub, cleaning it, the whole thing? I mean, a lot of these new, or let's say innovative systems that are benefit the elders are great for everybody.
I think that's a great thing. I actually sold a place that had that tub in there. And everyone who looked at it, oh, look at this tub. This is for old people. I hate it. I hate it. The person who bought it, who said they were going to rip it out, they used it a few times. They loved it and they kept it. I think that product, though, they need to update it and make it look a little more stylish, because it does look. And I notice now that they have glass panels for it.
Right.
So they've dressed it up. But I think they need to go a little bit further to make it enticing to everybody, because more or less it's a hot tub.
Exactly. They now have shower heads. They have a lot of things, and I agree with you. So people have got to get off that other thing. But you bring up some good points about this. But I do think that people then, and you could, you are good at knowing what their life's going to be like, and you just pose those questions. Well, about this and about that. The other thing is, sometimes people now, they have 2-bedroom apartments, and they only need one. Are they allowed to bring someone else in and rent that other room?
It all depends what association it is. You have unmarried couples that, associations seem to think it's okay. But, in South Florida, housing is very expensive. I have a gentleman now, he's 75 years old. He really can't, he's very healthy, very active, but he really can't afford to live in a safe area, in a safe place. So on my Facebook page, I put out, you know, a message saying I have a gentleman, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, and he's looking. And I got about 3 responses that I forwarded on to him. Now, the condominium that he's moving to, they may say, oh, well, you have to be related, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. Now, some housing organizations are fighting that. People have to be the Golden Girls.
Yes, thank you. That was my next thing.
They all
Well,
live.
we're running out of time because everything we do with you goes so fast, but so much information. The phone number to call Anthony Kulp is 954-815-9048. And you can see, most realtors do not know what Anthony Kulp knows. Some of them just got in themselves. They were something else. They decided to get in real estate. Anthony's been doing this for many years, and he started in construction, so you won't lose with getting with him. And thank you, Anthony. I always learn so much from you. I really appreciate it.
Doing this 21 years, and for the 3rd year in a row at the company I broker under, I was within the top 25 out of over 1,500 agents.
Yes, I could have told him that. You're great. Thank you. I'd recommend you to everyone and appreciate your help so much. And we'll talk to you again. Get us another article because everyone loves your articles.
I'll have to think.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay, bye. Okay, bye.